Oral questions. Questions orales. The honourable member for Regina Capel.
Mr. Speaker, after 10 years of this Liberal government, elites and insiders have never had it so good. Meanwhile, this Prime Minister is telling young Canadians that they're going to have to sacrifice even more. And now we learn what all that sacrifice is going to. We learned today that these Liberals just paid out big bonuses to government officials. The Liberal Housing Agency, CMHC, whose main job is to make housing more affordable, paid out $30 million in executive bonuses at a rate of about $42,000 a pop. Each one of those could have been a down payment for a young Canadian. Why is the Prime Minister telling young Canadians that they're going to have to sacrifice so that he can pay off government insiders?
The Honourable Minister for Gender Equality, Women and Gender Equality, Tourism and Small Business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Canadians made it clear in the last election they want more homes built, especially for young Canadians trying to buy their first home. And that's why this government is moving fast. We're cutting the GST for first-time home buyers up to $50,000 in tax relief and nearly $4 billion in savings, Mr. Speaker. This works on building on our first home savings account and the National Housing Strategy supporting purpose-built rentals for young Canadians. While Conservatives are voting down affordability measures, we're stepping up and taking care of young Canadians finally getting the keys to their first home. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Regina Capel.
Mr. Speaker, if flushing billions of tax dollars through big bureaucracies actually worked, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We've been hearing the same thing for 10 years from this Liberal government, and the results for young Canadians are terrible. The youth unemployment rate is now 15%. Young people are forced to move back into their parents' basement, and now the Prime Minister is telling them to sacrifice while he uses their tax dollars to pay off big bonuses for government officials. Do these Liberals not realize that young Canadians simply have nothing left to give?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
What young Canadians want is a great job, and that's why we're making the investments not only in the things that they need, like good jobs, housing, major projects, but also in the skills training that they need to pick up those jobs. You know, the Canadian Building Trades Union does a fantastic job training young apprentices, and that's why in our budget we will propose $75 million more to Canadian building trades unions and other unions around the country to train our youth who want to do the work, Mr. Speaker. They want to be part of this transformation.
The Honourable Member for Calgary East.
The Prime Minister told young Canadians to make sacrifices while Liberal insiders and elites never had it so good. Canadians are lining up at food banks while Liberals use tax dollars to hand out bonuses. CMHC execs got $30 million in bonuses for helping the Liberal housing crisis. EDC execs got $60 million in bonuses for Liberal mismanagement of COVID benefits. How many more sacrifices do young people need to make so the Prime Minister can keep lining the pockets of his insider buddies?
The Honourable Minister for Women and Gender Equality.
Mr. Speaker, this is coming from a member whose leader, when once responsible for this file, only built 6 homes in this country. Mr. Speaker, Conservatives claim to care about young people, yet every time a measure comes forward to actually support them, they vote against it. They voted against the National Housing Strategy, against the first-time home savings account, against expanding mortgage criteria, and now they won't even commit that GST cut that would save first-time home buyers $50,000. But don't worry, Mr. Speaker, Canadians can rely on our government and this side of the House to keep making life more affordable for Canadians. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Calgary East.
Housing was half the cost under our leader when he was the housing minister.
That's right.
And if all of those expensive programs work, 700,000 kids wouldn't be waiting in food bank lines every single month.
Exactly.
And rents have doubled. A PEI senior reported he's living out of his car because he can't afford rent. But this is the new normal in Liberal Canada. The only people eating and living good today are the Prime Minister and his elitist buddies. Why is he putting taxpayer-funded bonuses ahead of struggling Canadians?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, this morning I had the privilege of meeting with Minister Barb Ramsey of the Conservative government of Prince Edward Island. And you know what Minister Ramsey and I talked about? How pleased they were that we made the National School Food Program permanent. In fact, they've been able to drive down food hunger through National School Food Programs, and they are so happy to have a federal partner that's working with them so that kids can eat in dignity no matter who they are, no matter where they go to school.
The honourable member for Mégantic-L'Érable-Lotbinière. Mr. Speaker, the Liberals have been in power for 10 years now, and you know what? Nowadays, more than 600,000 Quebecers are going to food banks every month, while the Prime Minister's friends are filling their boots. Last week, he had the nerve to tell young people to make even more sacrifices, while BDC and CMHC execs are getting tens of millions in bonuses. Instead of telling our young people to make sacrifices, why doesn't the Prime Minister ask his friends to make some by cutting back on their compensation packages? Why doesn't he do that? The Honourable Minister of Government Transformation. Mr. Speaker, if my colleague wants to talk about nerve, they have the nerve to say things like that here in the House, but then vote against the measures we take to help the young and the vulnerable. For example, dental care that's helped thousands of people in his own riding. We could also talk about the hundreds of thousands of young people who have access to the school food program, which his colleague called garbage, Mr. Speaker. That takes a lot of nerve. The honourable member for Mégantic-L'Érable-Lotbinière. Mr. Speaker, they seem not to understand what ordinary people are going through. In Quebec, 600,000 people are now going to food banks. And at the same time, rents have doubled in all parts of Quebec, and the price of groceries continues to rise. Mr. Speaker, in the Journal de Montréal on the weekend, there was a front-page story about pregnant women cutting back on protein and vegetables. People don't have enough money to pay rent or buy groceries. Will the Prime Minister finally get the message and table an affordable budget so Quebec families can have an affordable life? The Honourable Minister. Mr. Speaker, what's absolutely astounding is that whenever they have an opportunity to vote on programs that would truly improve the cost of living for Quebecers and Canadians, they vote against it. When it's for children or for the dental care program, the school food program, which has been a huge success helping young people in Quebec. They talk a good talk, but every time it comes to a vote, they're missing in action.